the Angels have they've had to deal with more than any franchise has had to, man. Because in addition to this month, Nick Aidenhard, what was that? Just like 2 or 3 years ago.
Aiden Hart, I don't remember when that was.
I think it was like 3 years ago. Yeah.
But yeah, that's more than any family should, more than any team should, and my condolences on that.
Yeah, it's crazy because these guys are literally like in peak condition, and they're dying. I mean, like when Oscar Mercado drives off a road, you're like, oh, that's a trash. But this is like, who knows what happened here? They said it wasn't suicide, and they said it wasn't foul play, and they said that they won't know until October when the autopsy's done.
Wow.
It is sad. Skaggs came up in the Arizona thing I guess he was originally drafted by the Angels, but he came with Arizona. I remember when the Diamondbacks had these two prospects, Scherzer and Skaggs, and looked they were going to beat the world. Oh, and another guy they had there was Bauer. They had all three at the same time. It's like, wow, some pitchers do work out. It's a shame about Skaggs. Our moment of unintentional silence, but we can move forward if you like.
Oh, sure. Well, with the injury list among the chief new arrivals for the IL is welcome to Illinois, Tommy La Stella for the fractured right tibia. La Stella, of course, being one of the 25 guys who never has to buy a drink in Chicago ever again. Matt Carpenter for the Cardinals with back spasms. David Peralta for the Diamondbacks out with a left shoulder injury. And Brandon Lowe for the Tampa Bay Rays, who I keep thinking was that guy who won the Cy Young a while ago for the Diamondbacks, but then I remember that A, that's Brandon Webb, and B, he has not pitched in about a decade.
Yeah.
Because after 2002, everything just blurs together to me.
La Stella's going to miss the All-Star game. He's out for 8 to 10 weeks. That's the most serious one about there. The Peralta injury, we talked last week about there might be a problem fitting Lamb, Walker, and a bunch of people in their thing, but basically Marte is going to move the outfield, and it gets Lamb a chance to play some third. And with Brendan Lowe out with shin contusion, they bring up Nate Lowe because there's plenty of Lowe's in Tampa Bay.
Doesn't one of them pronounce it different or something like that? It's like they keep saying that call Lau or something like that.
Yeah, one of them is Lau. They actually have a third Lowe too. They're all pronounced. Yeah, one of them pronounces it differently. I have no idea which one. If I've offended you, Brandon or Nate, I'm sorry.
If Yancey Eaton's listening, he can correct us on Twitter later.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Other new additions of Stephen Piscotty for the A's with a right knee sprain. Luke Voigt, congratulations. You're now the 20th guy in the Yankees to be injured, although I think he may be more than one of those guys. I think he was earlier this year.
If they punch the card for all 20, they get a free injured player.
Yep. You get to get a free autographed picture by Dr. James Andrews himself. With an abdominal strain. Angels outfielder Brian Goodwin with a hit-by-pitch contusion. G-Man Choi for Tampa Bay with a sprained left ankle. And is this the same Jacoby Jones who was the kick returner for the Texans?
No, that was
It's got to be.
No, that Jacoby Jones was the guy that was on Dancing with the Stars, which people were like, what the hell? But no, that's it. Nothing really big there. I mean, the J-Man Choi thing brings up somebody that I like, and I forget who it is. Oh, Mike Brousseau is going to get playing time at first base. There's somebody you might not have heard of, a deep-cut Tampa Bay prospect, a non-prospect. He's not even in the top 20, but the kid can hit. Hit 15 home runs, hit 285 in the minors, and he's pretty much tore it up in the few games he's played so far this year.
Well, speaking of Rays, this pitcher, I always think, oh, wait, he's not on Tampa Bay anymore whenever I see this. Twins pitcher Jake Odorizzi out with a middle finger blister, so he cannot do his Stone Cold Steve Austin impression for a while. And Houston prospect Corbin Martin out with TMJ. I know that'll hurt your jaw like you wouldn't believe. Oh, wait.
He's got.
Oh, yeah, that's TJS. I'm sorry. He's down with Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's
there goes your ear. I'm sorry.
Speaking of unlimited prospects, Astros have like 13 more pitchers in their thing that are pretty good. Everything from Buskauskas and Whitley to Tyler Ivey to Rogelio Armenteros. Odorizzi missing out. They brought up Thorpe. They got a couple of interesting minor leaguers in Minnesota, Thorpe and Smeltzer. Thorpe's a little better on the strikeouts, so he's more of a fantasy baseball play.
Players that were out day to day, Jason Hayward for the Cubs with a sore back and hip should be returning today. Reds second baseman Scooter Gennett with groin tightness. Ryan Braun of the Brewers out with a sore, throwing people under the bus. Justin Upton for the Angels with quad tightness. And Randall Grichuk for the Blue Jays with a back injury, as well as Brian Anderson for the Marlins, who ran into an outfield wall. Lenny Dykes for style.
Yeah, I'm surprised that these guys didn't go on the IL just because of, there's going to be 5 days off coming up, so you may as well give them the full rest. But none of these are that serious. With Hayward out, they actually moved Brian to the outfield and gave David Bote time at third. Randall Grichuk being out has actually moved Eric Sogard to the outfield. So the guy who's been hot so far this year gets some playing time.
And leaving the games yesterday, Twins DH Nelson Cruz with a heel injury, and Pirates starting pitcher Steven Brault with shoulder discomfort.
Both aren't thought to be that serious, but they did leave last night. Anthony Rendon is skipping the All-Star game this year. They said that he has a bunch of nagging injuries. And Odubel Herrera...
Like, and I'm like, I know injuries. I'm just going to the All-Star. I'm just going there for the weekend. It's just one weekend. And no, they just keep yelling at me. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll stay home. Jeez, you happy now?
I mean, basically, a lot of guys don't go to the All-Star game, which allows the All-Star team to have 47 people on it. But he's not otherwise injured. He's going to play up to the end and play when it comes back. But he's played 53 straight games since he came off the IL, so he needs a rest. And the other note, which we never really know what to do with it, but Odubel Herrera is suspended for the remainder of the season for the domestic violence problem. Congratulations, Scott Kingery owners.
All right.
Let's see your activations for the week. Trevor Story back from that injury from, I believe it was last week when we reported that. As well as the Royals, Adalberto Mondesi, and pretty good starting pitcher rotation that you got coming back with Syndergaard for the Mets, Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs, and Domingo Germán for the Yankees.
Yeah, those five are on everybody's teams everywhere. It's always good to hear good players come back.
A's closer Blake Trinan, the Mets reliever Uris Familia, and Padres starting pitcher Dinelson Lamet.
Trinan takes over as a closer in Oakland, right, Steve?
No.
Liam's
not taking back over.
Liam's
Hendricks got the save last night. He's made the All-Star team as well, probably because Rendon didn't go or somebody else. But no, it sounds like Hendricks is going to keep the job for until he hiccups. Trinan hasn't pitched well when he came back. He gave up a couple runs.
I was looking at some of the advanced. I was looking at some of the advanced stats. I was looking at one thing, like number of home runs allowed, and it's amazing how many home runs everybody is. Like Luis Castillo's let up 23 home runs, even though he's an all-star. He's a very good pitcher, but in the home run world, it's like I think that Liam Hendricks has let up 2 home runs this year, which is pretty impressive. He's among the lowest with any kind of meaningful innings pitched. So I'm actually sort of happy about that. Dinelson Lamet.
I was about to ask if you ever thought Hendricks would start another game after the wild card game last year.
I prayed that he never would. God, I can't. Well, another day we'll talk about how awful the wild card game is and how disappointing that season was.
Up at that point. Dinelson Lamet had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. Did let up 3 runs, but if you're looking for strikeouts, that's a guy that can strike people out, and he just pitched in San Diego.
Going off to rehab this week includes Dodgers outfielder A.J. Pollock. Other outfielders include the Pirates' Gregory Polanco and Baltimore's D.J. Stewart. Texas catcher Isaiah Kinner-Falefa, and starting pitcher for Toronto in his never-ending quest to be on every major league team before he retires, Edwin Jackson.
Do you know what team Edwin Jackson has been on twice? I mean, it's amazing. He's only gone back to one team, the Washington Nationals. Pollock had 2 Ks in his first game last night. Didn't look that good at the plate. So there was some rumor that said he'd be back before All-Star break, but they're going to take the time to give him 5-6 games to get his bat speed up to. And Polanco looks really good, hitting .333 with a home run and a couple stolen bases. But no one really needs me to tell you that Gregory Polanco is worth rostering in most leagues. But that's the notes there.
Rehabs that were halted include A's starting pitcher Jesus Luzardo with lateral tightness and Rangers outfielder Hunter Pence with a hamstring injury.
Lat is short for latissimus dorsi. That's a muscle in his stomach somewhere. It is back in the stomach area. So both guys, Hunter Pence was voted the All-Star game and he can't make it. The problem with Hunter Pence is that actually he went out with a leg injury and now he has a new issue with his hamstring. So it might be a little bit longer though.
Not one thing, it's another. Jeez. Call-ups include Matt Thaiss, Robel Garcia, Josh Van Meter for the Reds, and Jarrett Parker.
Robel Garcia played his first full game for the Cubs on 4th of July. He went 3 for 5 with a triple home run and a single and 2 strikeouts. Do you know where that guy played baseball last year? He played for Unisai Bologna of the Italy Champions League, where he led the league in triples and doubles but not home runs. Kind of an interesting story. He's the non-prospect prospect. He did hit 21 home runs this year across AAA and AA to get the call-up. And if he hits like this, he looks like, and it seems like the Cubs have no shortage of these players, he looks like he's not as good as Javi Baez, but he's a free swinger who can hit the ball. So he's like somewhere on the spectrum between David Bodie and Javi Baez, closer to the Bodie side. But I think it's going to hurt Addison Russell's playing time. Matt Thaiss is actually a pretty good player. He was supposed to be the guy that takes over at first base for Pujols. At one point, he had 15 home runs in the minors last year, 363 OBP, 280 average. He's a guy to look at.
Starting pitchers who made spot starts this week include Jose Urquidy for the Astros, Lewis Thorpe for the Twins, and Tom Eshelman for the Orioles, who came within 1 inning of being the first Orioles pitcher this year to have a quality start.
Yeah, he got what they call a Baltimore quality start. But Tom Eshelman got sent down. He had no strikeouts. That was kind of an amazing thing. He's normally a relief pitcher. Thorpe looked pretty good. The Minnesota's like depth in their minor leagues looked pretty decent. He had 7 strikeouts, let up 2 runs. Urquidy is probably the best of this bunch. Don't let that stat line fool you at 3.2. He pitched not 4 innings and 2 runs, 4 Ks, but he was pitching in Colorado for his first game, and by Colorado standards, that's not a bad first game.
That's true. To be recalled include Tyler Beatty for the Giants on Sunday and pitcher Bryce Wilson for the Braves on Tuesday.
Yep.
And so get out your manufacturer's guarantee and your warranties because these players have been recalled.
A lot of good names
White
in
Sox. Oh yeah, White Sox starting pitcher Dylan Cease, who went 5 innings with 6 Ks, and also giving up 3 runs. The Angels starting pitcher Jamie Barria, and Giants starting pitcher. Well, we just notified on Tyler Beatty. So
yes. Who is the idiot who writes this stuff? Who's the idiot who proofreads this stuff? Fire that guy. Hey, you're out of here. No, the big one is
Don't talk to your dog that way, Doug.
my dog tells me to like the son of Sam, his dog told people to kill people. My dog just gives me good fantasy advice. It's kind of like I'm kind of lucky that way. My schizophrenia works to my advantage. No, Dylan Cease is the big guy. He was one of the 2 guys that came over in the much maligned Cubs Jose Quintana trade, and he got 6 Ks in 5 innings. Guy throws 100 miles an hour. He's going to be good. The question is he going to be good in the first time out? That's to be seen. Not a bad first game, but sometimes it takes pitchers a little bit of time. But he's a guy that I would roster as a speculative ad everywhere.
Other recalls include Oakland shortstop Franklin Barreto, who went 290 with 25 home runs last year.